My son lives out of town and this is his room. I definitely have been doing a lot of thrifting, and it's time to work through that stash with some thrift makeovers. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new. My name's Melissa. Today I'm gonna start working through this stash and getting some of these items made over into some really pretty home decor, and I can't wait for you to see how they turn out. So let's go ahead and get started crafting. For this project, I'm going to work on this thrifted piece that I paid a couple of dollars for, and it just has some marks on it that have been chipped off. And this is kind of the inspiration for this. This is a lamp that I have in my closet, and I just think it's so pretty, and the shape of it is so similar. So this is kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster to go ahead and get this project started. I go ahead and go over this piece with 2 coats of that Waverly chalk paint. Once the paint was dry, I took it outside and I'm spraying it with some of this Rust-Oleum matte clear enamel spray, and that's just gonna seal that paint in real good and make it harder to chip. So after I spray this, I just give it 1 coat. I let that dry completely, and then I'm going to hopefully get the effect that I got on the lamp, but I'm just going to use this Waverly chalk paint in Truffle, and I'm going to dry brush. So when you dry brush, you want to make sure that when you get the paint on your brush that you wipe off as much excess as possible. And then I'm using a very, very light hand, as light as I can muster, to kind of get around those edges. I just mainly want it on the edges. Now obviously I'm going to get some on the rest of the piece, but that's okay. I just want to really highlight those raised portions, and then I also get around the bottom, and this just kind of gives it that look that I got from the lamp. And this is what it looks like. I think this is very pretty. It's just such a great neutral piece that can really go in any kind of decor as just a little extra, addition to a vignette. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is a little bird that I found, and birds seem to do really well in the store where I have my vendor booth. And we actually have a book where people can come in and put what they're looking for. And someone was looking for a yellow bird. So that's what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to use this Waverly chalk paint in the color Maize to get this bird painted. I go ahead and give it 2 coats of that chalk paint. Once that's dry, I go ahead and use this Waverly varnish to put a coat of it on to the bird, because I do want to use a dark wax, an antique wax, on some of the detailed parts, and I don't want to change the color of that yellow too much. So I'm going to go ahead and put the varnish and let it dry. After the varnish is dried, I am going to now kind of bring out the details of the feathers and the tail, and I'm doing that with this Waverly antique wax, and I'm using a smaller brush to do that. I'm putting the antique wax on each detailed part, wiping it back, and then I go over it again before I put any more antique wax on the brush, just to kind of smooth it out so I don't have a lot of puddling. And then I'm going to go in. You can see all the details right here, and this is how it kind of looks funny right now because of the color being so different, but I'm going to go in now with the white wax, Waverly white wax. I'm going to mainly start off putting the white wax on the smooth parts of the bird, the part where I did not paint or use the antique wax. And then with whatever's left on my brush, I go over the antique wax part and just kind of blend it all in until it looks, you know, pretty nice. And then I use a little antique wax that's left on my brush for that beak. And this is what it turned out like. I really think this is just so pretty and so just dainty and sweet. I love this. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is a box that I found at a garage sale for $2, and I liked the handles of it as well as these pieces on each corner. The color that I'm going to use is the Waverly chalk paint in the color moss, and I do give the box 2 coats of the chalk paint. I tried to be pretty neat, but I did get some paint on the handles and on these little corner pieces. So I used a baby wipe to get that off. And now I am going to use some transfers from the Garden Marvels set by Redesign with Prima. And I will have that linked in my description box. But I am going to attempt to use the little branches and put the birds on the top. And the great thing with the transfers is you can add to each transfer piece. So I just add some leaves, I add the birds, I add some flowers, and I did wrap it around the sides of the box because I do want to carry it through. But the transfers are super easy to use. Now that I have all of the transfers on, I do need to seal those transfers in, and I do want to give the rest of the box a top coat. So I'm using this clear wax in Waverly, and I'm just going to put a coat of the clear wax on all of the surfaces. I start with the inside, wipe back the excess, then move along to the sides. I'm not doing the bottom yet because once I get the clear wax on, I'm going in with the antique wax, and I'm using a small brush to get on all of the edges just to give it a little more dimension. Once I've done that, then I go back to the bottom and put the clear wax on the bottom. And this is what it turned out like. I just want to show you some pictures of some of the ways you can use this. You can use this as a welcome box for your guest room. You can use it on a side table for all of your books. This would be great in a laundry room to hold fabric softener sheets or your dryer balls or whatever, or you could even use it in a bathroom to hold your towels. Let me know how you would use it in the comments. I found this pair of little black metal sconces at the Salvation Army, and I think I paid $2.50 for the pair, but I don't want it to be black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this Spanish copper color of Rub and Buff, and I'm going to cover the surface of both of these with that Spanish copper. When I first started putting it on, I really couldn't see much of a difference, but then once I got more of it on and set it next to the black, I really love the color of the Spanish copper. But I'm using a little sponge applicator to put that over the whole thing. And once I finish that, then I'm going to use the antique gold Rub and Buff, and I have a glove on because I want to get around kind of the edges and in some of the details on the inside. So I just kind of just put the gold kind of where I want it to be, just to kind of give it some dimension. And I just really love the way this turned out. But I did it kind of on all the edges around the little candle part, and I just did it on both of the pieces until I got the finish that I was kind of looking for. This was such a simple makeover, but I really feel like it just really makes a huge difference. I'm excited to see what you think of these. I really like this finish so much better than the black. I just think it has so much more personality, and I love that Spanish copper rub and buff. I will have a link to these battery operated taper candles in the comments. I love these candles. I have them all over my house. Do you ever find random saucers that are really pretty, but they don't have the cups with them, and so you just pass them by? Today I'm going to show you a great little thing that you can make with some saucers. I found these saucers at various thrift stores, and they have 3 different sizes, but you can buy these little candle, I don't really know what you call them. I'll put a link in the description box. I got them from Amazon, but these are things that you can attach to make candlesticks or candle holders. So what I'm gonna do is just put some E6000 on the bottom of each of the little taper holders, and I'm just going to attach them to the very center of each saucer and let that dry completely. And this turns this random saucer into such a pretty little taper candle holder. I really like the size of this last little saucer that I'm putting this on. It's just, to me, like the perfect size, but I am definitely now on the lookout for more of these random saucers so that I can make more of these. I just think these are so cute. This project was so simple and so quick. I just love this, and I just think there are just so many different ways and so many different spaces that you can use it. Let me know if you think you would try this in the comments. Before we take one last look at all of these quick and easy projects, I want to share a Bible verse with you, and it comes from 1 John 4:9. God showed how much He loved us by sending His one and only Son into the world so that we might have eternal life through Him. I hope that this verse blesses you in some way today, speaks to you in some way, but I also want to thank you so much for coming by and sharing some time with me and watching my videos. I hope that I gave you just a little bit of inspiration on turning those really inexpensive thrift finds into really pretty home decor. You can see it really does not take a lot of time, it doesn't take a lot of money, and it really doesn't take a lot of effort to create some of these items that are just great for home decor. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for coming by. I really do appreciate it. And if you like this sort of content, whether it is thrift makeovers, thrift hauls, home decor, I would love it if you would be a part of my YouTube family. Go ahead and click the subscribe button and click the bell button so you're notified when I upload new videos. And please give this video a big thumbs up because it really does help me out with YouTube. And if you want to see more videos like this, then go ahead and check out the boxes you see on the screen right now. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.